In 3. Guys, I'm excited. We have a couple interviews that we recorded that we'll be showing later. But today, or tonight actually, I got my friend Rob Bresnahan from, and I always butcher your construction company, what's it called?
Kuharchil Construction.
And they do electrical work out in the community for traffic lights, right?
Yeah, we do traffic signals, intelligent transportation systems, airport lighting, 5G cellular communications, all that smart technology that you see that affects you every single day of your life.
And that went over my head in 6 seconds.
But
what's interesting is that you're a business owner, right, of a very lucrative business, and you're sitting here on a park bench with a CEO of a homeless shelter or homeless transformation center in Wilkes-Barre. My question, I'm sure a lot of people that are here listening's question is, why?
Well, let me preface it with the work that you're doing and the fact that you have given a full 24 hours of your life to sit in the beautiful metropolis of downtown Wilkes-Barre and on that said park bench. So I think that's very noble of you, and the cause of the Keystone Mission and the mission of the Keystone Mission to eradicate homelessness throughout northeastern Pennsylvania is a very worthwhile endeavor. So kudos to you for doing this. And I wasn't sure of how the weather was actually going to be tonight, so I did bring you a hoodie. This is not product placement. And just a little while ago, I was eating dinner across the street, and I reminded myself how lucky that I was to be in a position that I can sit down and get grilled chicken buffalo bites and be in a position to pay for them and then go home to indoor plumbing and a roof over my head. So when you put the hierarchy of needs into perspective, there is a need in this community, and the undertaking that you're pursuing here is very noble.
So you know me very well. We've been friends.
For the duration.
And I like to push buttons. That's one of my things I love to do. And I'm very first to announce that I think government does it wrong, right? I think government likes to throw money to a situation and just hope that they put the Band-Aid on it so that it can keep flying through. I'm a guy that likes to find solutions and figure things out, right? And so one of my visions this year is to have a summit, right, or a think tank of business owners across northeastern Pennsylvania come together under one roof and say a blanket statement: what if we could end homelessness? And say, okay, business owners, what do you think we could do? Because if you guys can fix electric lights all across the state of Pennsylvania, or travel down to the south when there's a tornado or a hurricane that destroys half of it and try to bring it back together, which I know you guys do also, I think we could put business owners' minds to work in coming up with an idea to try to really do a good product or a good solution or a good service to end homelessness. And so that's one of my visions. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it was a mouthful, but when you dissect it all, you get to the root cause of the problem. Unfortunately, government rearranges deck chairs on the Titanic and thinks about as a long-term solution by, instead of plugging the actual hole or painting over the rust. And when you think about our industry and our trades, we need people. We will always need people to perform these tasks. And I think a mission of the Keystone Mission and the entire idea is join apprenticeship training committees, training trades in the most underlying senses. I mean, there's always going to be a need for electricians. There's always going to be a need for HVAC work. There's always going to be a need for truck drivers and heavy equipment operators.
And the pay for that is amazing.
Off the charts, absolutely. I mean, you see, and the best part about apprenticeship programs is you earn to learn, as you earn while you're learning. And, listen, I went to college. I mean, based off of my high school transcripts, I don't know if I was really college material. I was very blessed in the educations that I received, but there is a place, and this shouldn't be frowned upon for people to enter into those skilled trade positions. As an IBW electrician, you're coming out with health, wellness, annuities, and you're not going to be saddled with one nickel of debt upon graduation. And it's a 5-year, very extensive program. But this is job security. This is family sustaining wages. And there's certainly a transitional path that, the homeless, and I don't know if I want to call them the homeless. I want to call them the unfortunate or some that have fallen on.
Those are living homeless.
Living homeless?
No, if you say those that are living homeless, then homeless doesn't actually take over their role of who they are. They're just living. It's just something temporary in their life if they're living with it.
Well, that's a great way to phrase it, because I think you just think about homeless people or like a vagrant, and that's not like the people have fallen on very hard times, and I'm sure you see every single day when people come into your shelter that they have just unfortunately been dealt a very unpleasant set of cards, and that's not what they asked for. And these are people that are motivated, that want to go back to work, but just need the coaching and the some kind of way to shepherd them into the path that they want to be in.
So, Rob, you're going to be excited about this. In the Transformation Center, one of our pillars is the job readiness.
Okay.
And in that job readiness, the very beginning phases that they come into us, we have volunteer therapy. And all that is just picking up the trash around the neighborhood, doing that kind of thing. But it's to give that work ethic, right? To learn that you got to wake up in the morning, you got to put a uniform on, you got to go out and do your job. But as they move forward in our Transformation Center, we actually have contractors that we're working with that are going to come in, and they're going to teach them the skills and knowledge that they have, whether it's electrical, plumbing, and general contracting.
That's great.
The best part behind that is then they're going to take them out in the workforce with them, and they're going to work with them and hand and start teaching them out on the block of how to do things like that.
Real life training,
similar to what you were talking about, apprenticeship. And then the contractor might say, hey, you know what? Jim's doing a great job with me. I really connect with him. He when I need a wrench, he knows already what wrench to grab. He already knows and I don't even know what this is, but the D wire versus the L wire. I made that up. But
Justin, you're always good on your toes.
Yeah, that's right. And so they know what they're doing, right? And they like it, and they say, you know what? I want to work. I want him to work for me. I'm willing to pay him because I know I'm going to get what I need out of it. And now we start building this apprenticeship, like you're talking about, and they're going to make a living for themselves. They're going to get a good, substantial job, and that's just one piece of the puzzle. But it's the puzzle that I can see you filling in there, that you understand that and all that. So
we need labor in this country. I mean, how many times do you walk down a street, whether it's the corner cafe or the gas station or the pizza shop that says closed due to staffing shortages?
Yep.
And just because we're coming out of a global pandemic here should not excuse the inability to fulfill these vacant positions.
Correct.
We need to get people back to work with family sustaining wages too. That is the paramount process here.
And the piece that I like about it is those that challenge and say, well, they're just a burden on society, these homeless individuals. But guess what? If we get them back to work, guess what they're doing?
Contributing.
And they're paying taxes.
Absolutely.
Right? And so now we got productive members of society, living independent, doing what they need to do, and they're getting the job done to make this country a better place and make the nation a better place, the county a better place, yada, yada, yada. And so that's our goal. That's one of our pillars. That what you just talked about is actually the exact pillar of job readiness. And we're excited to get that moving in the right direction with these individuals and being productive.
So let me ask you a question. What do you see the most immediate need within your organization? I know you have a lot of really cool ideas going on. You're constructing new shelters.
Yep.
You're expanding upon the actual physical footprint. What is your immediate need? So people watching this right now, how can they help?
So we have three things that we always push, right? The first one is prayer.
Okay.
Right? Everyone can do that. The second one is volunteer. Give back, help us out volunteer-wise. And the third one, which is just as important with everything else, is donating. We do not take government dollars. We're all private.
No state, federal funding.
If we do, it's unrestricted.
Okay.
Which is very hard to find, unrestricted government dollars. Usually there's, they have a stipulation you have to follow this rule. We're very strict about that because we want to have our system set up the way we have it set up. We don't want someone to tell us you can't have someone there for 35 days. They got to be from your county. We want to accept everybody, anyone. Great. We want to make sure that they can stay as long as they need to get better, as long as they're getting better. So there's a lot of things that's the reason why we don't take the restricted funds. So we have a lot of private donors. And when you're a private donor, that means those millions of dollars that are out there for restricted funds, we don't go for. So we always so that's one of the biggest things. But we take pride in that it's Joe that donates that $50 to us. That $50 is making the difference, and not the $10 million that you get from a grant or whatever it is.
Well, it sounds like a grassroots campaign from bottom up.
100%. And so if you think about that in perspective, that building that we're rebuilding and we're renovating and we're putting in dollars, we're putting over close to a little less than $1 million into that building of private donors.
And that's right here.
Right here, right outside of Sherman Hills on 290 Parkview Circle.
Right here in Wilkes-Barre.
Right here in Wilkes-Barre.
Wow, great.
And so we're
That's
renovating
fantastic.
that building. It's going to look state-of-the-art. It's going to be impressive. It's going to be a place that people can make change.
How many people do you think that facility can accommodate?
So we're going to have 10 people going through the program, up to 15.
Wow. And what's the program like?
So the program is on 5 pillars. When you come in, the first 2 months of that program, you're on like is this for me? Is this where I need to go? Then once that moves forward, they're going to go through 5 things: the Genesis model, which is changing the way of flight or fight syndrome, living on the limbic system, trying to survive, to living in rational, making rational decisions. Right?
Okay.
The second phase is going to be the job readiness. We already talked about that.
Mm-hmm.
The third phase the third pillar is going to be life skills, teaching them socialization, communication. How do you wash your clothes? How do you shower? Hygiene, that type of thing. The fourth is self-care, and that's getting connected to doctors in the community, dentists.
I was going to ask where
drug and alcohol
health and wellness fall into this equation.
That's the fourth pillar.
Okay.
And then the fifth pillar is spiritualness, which is all about building relationships. So we have churches that are adopting each one of these individuals. They bring 8 of their congregation members to us. They become friends with the person that's homeless.
Wow.
And then they take them to their church. And we went from 8 people to whatever their church congregation is, and they build a bigger model.
Are there any other programs in this area that are doing what you're doing?
No. And what I did was I traveled all across this country to all the rescue missions and said, what works? What didn't work? Why did it not work? Why did it work? And then I compiled this model together.
Well, it sounds like it's, at least in northeastern Pennsylvania, it's one of one.
Right. That all inclusive. But here's the best part, right? We have drug and alcohol in our shelter or transformation center, but we're not doing it. We are partnering with the drug and alcohol in the community to do this. We have mental health in our facility, but we're not doing it. We're partnering with people that know how to do mental health in the community.
But it's a one-stop shop. I mean, it's not like you're just sent out into the abyss.
But we're partnering with other agencies. So now we're bringing agencies together. We're acting as a broker to help the individual. So we're building a better relationship in the community for that individual. We're building all the spokes in the wheel that individual needs. So when they leave our facility and they go into an apartment on their own in independence, we're still going to follow them as the broker, but we're going to make sure that wheel keeps spinning with all those individuals.
Well, it sounds like you're actually getting the sandpaper out and getting rid of the rust instead of just spray painting over a temporary solution.
We're ripping the Band-Aid off and we're suturing it up. That's
the right way to
exactly what
handle
we're
it.
doing. So, Rob, I do appreciate you coming down here and talking to me.
Absolutely.
I was going to call you out, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be a good guy.
Well, listen, we're in for some support, and as you
appreciate
continue your renovation projects, you know my phone number, you know where I hide, and you know how to find me.
You're number 5 on my speed dial. No,
Number 5? Hey, I'm top 10. I'll take that.
actually, I don't even know if they have numbers on speed dial anymore.
At least I'm top 10. Maybe he has my number memorized. Good or bad thing, I don't know.
That's true. But I appreciate you coming here. I thank you. I know you're a busy man, so I'm going to let you get going. But thank you for coming, Rob. And as always, you're a friend of mine, and I truly appreciate it.
Justin, thanks for all that you do.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it.